Hello everybody, CW here. I want to talk a little about this Deathgrip BOG Pod. Stay tuned. Okay, I think everybody probably knows what it is. There's a couple different models. There's a lightweight one, and then there's a standard one. There's one that's a little bit cheaper and one's a little more expensive, and you can spend a couple $300 on one, or you can spend like $150 on one. This is the cheaper one. I like it. I haven't used it a whole lot. It is a little bit heavy, but it's very stable. It works really good. But I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with this clamp. It's nice because, you know, you may not have an Arca rail set up. You may not have even a pick rail set up or something you can clamp to. And you may not have the ability to get that on your firearm. You know, it's a wood stock. You don't want to screw screws in it. It's a synthetic stock. You don't want to scratch it up. It's nice. You know, it's a synthetic stock. It's cheap. You can't just screw a screw and it won't hold. You know, there's reasons why this works. So I can see it, but I really, really want to switch over and use an Arca rail style. And I don't really want to spend a whole pile of money on a whole new tripod. So I've been looking around and I ran across a couple of videos on YouTube. And apparently this was a popular thing about a year ago. This was like the thing to do. So I did some more hunting around and I found a couple of ball heads that were pretty economical and had some pretty good reviews. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this apart and we're going to convert it over to a ball head Arca rail style tripod for a whole pile less money than the multi-hundreds of dollars that you spend on some of these tripods. For got to be more people like me that want to have this but don't really want to spend the money or can't spend the money, but could still enjoy the use of something like this. If you don't know much about it, it's got 3 different settings for the legs, and it's accomplished just by pushing this button. So there's one setting, and that's a degree that the legs are open. And you got another setting here that lets the legs open a little farther. Then you got this one here. It lets it be on the ground. You could almost shoot prone with this. Yes, it would be a very large footprint, but you could shoot prone with this. There's 3 extensions on the legs. So right now I have 1 extension out. Then you can extend out 1 more. So you get a total of 3. What I really like for this here in my shop is for gun cleaning. I can put a gun in here, clamp it up, tip it down, muzzle down. I can run bore brushes. Everything runs right out. I throw a rag on the floor. Everything runs right out of the barrel, drips into the rag. It's perfect. It's nice. It clamps. I can spin it around. I can look through it. I can run a bore snake. I can run a bore scope. I really like it for just a mobile vise in the shop that I can walk all the way around. You know, I got this little vise over here, and I use it a lot, but I use it more for working on pieces parts. I don't put a whole gun in it. You know, I use it for an extra set of hands. It's great. It's super cheap. Harbor Freight. I did a video on it a year ago. It's awesome. It's just a cheap little Harbor Freight vise. It's even a clamp on, but you can screw it as well. It's even a clamp on, meaning, you know, you put a screw, clamp it on a table, a 2x4, a whatever. But that's what I use this for here in the shop. And then I use it in my ground blind, or I use it for varmint hunting. When you're sitting on a hillside or sitting up against a tree or something. It's really nice. So let's convert this over. I'll show you what I got in mind. It's pretty simple. There's 1 screw underneath here. 1 single screw. You take that out, and then you hit it with a soft face hammer, pop, 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 and it'll come right out. And I'll show you the pieces. There's a bearing on the top, a bearing on the bottom, and it's as simple as that. Take it apart, and you're going to have a base, and then I'll even show you how we can use this clamp still. I got an idea, and I think it's going to work. So stand by. Okay, here's all the pieces parts. This is the bottom bearing. This is the top bearing. And it really is a bearing. I don't know if it'll come back apart. Oh yeah. See, it really is a bearing. There's the race. It really is bearings, top and bottom. So this is the bottom one. This is the top one. This has got a clamp for spinning. You can stop your spinning. Here's the bolt that's in the very bottom that holds the whole thing together. There's a cover in there. Just a little rubber cover that keeps debris from getting in there. Got a very small bolt. Here's the centerpiece. This is where the bolt goes in. This gives you tilting. Just tilting, just like this. It doesn't go side to side, it just goes back and forth. And then here's the head. And this one will give you the clamping, and it's what goes back and forth. So if you really want to rock this around, or you got a really uneven surface, that's where this has a downfall, and where the ball head is going to be so much better. Fluid ball head, you know, big round ball. So I pulled this off here because I'm going to get like an Arca rail, something like one of these that you can get on Amazon. You can get it at eBay, a bunch of different places, and they're not very expensive. So this is what you would use to attach to your firearm, or whatever part you're going to use that you want to attach to your plate. Now this one's too small. Obviously, I want to be able to drill some holes and use those 4 bolts. Put that on there. This one only has a single bolt hole. I'll probably have to drill holes, you know, but you can see there's room in there to drill these holes. Not a big deal. I just got to get a bigger plate. And this part here we're not going to use. The other thing about this whole thing is heavy. All this stuff this checks in. Now we're going to keep, I want to use these, even though there's some weight here. I like the idea of having ball bearings in there. So I'm gonna try and utilize these. I'll show you what the BOG Pod looks like without all this stuff. And here we go. So it's just a hole. Just a hole through there, and it's a pretty big hole. So when you come back and you get your ball head, it's going to use a 3/8/16 bolt. So a pretty good sized bolt. So when you put it through here to bolt the new one on, you're going to have all this slop. So you're going to want to get something in there to take this up. So that's part of the reason why I want to use these bearings, because they're going to take up a portion of that space. But the other reason is I like the idea of that spinning, and if it spins nice and smooth, it's going to be good. If I don't, when I put the ball head on, if that's got its own rotation that's going to be smooth, I may omit these and not use them. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But what I've done to fill in this hole, this big giant, it's a 1-inch hole. Not that giant, but it's 1 inch. So we got to go down from 1 inch down to basically 3/8. So what I did was I went out in the garage and I found a piece of PVC that is perfect diameter. It's perfect for there. It fits in my bearings. You know, fits perfect in the bearings, and there's no movement. It's nice and snug. It's a little bit loose inside here, but that's because the bearing has to fit in here too. So I'm not worried about that little bit of looseness, because the bearing is going to tighten that up. And what I did was I just had a couple of different pieces of material and I just jammed them in there, and the last one was a little bit loose, so I wrapped some electrical tape on it and stuck it in there, and I cut it to length that I needed by measuring. And that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to have this on the bottom, this on the top, and then this is my bolt. This should be the right length. Now I have an Allen on order. This is just what I had in the garage. I'm going to switch it over to a cap head Allen bolt, and I also ordered some stainless steel fender washers. So it's going to be a stainless steel bolt and stainless steel washer, so that I don't have any kind of corrosion issues. But for now, this will work. All right, let's take a look at what I got as a ball head. All right, there's a number of them on there. And the one I chose it because it had a big ball. And I like the idea of a really big ball down in here, because it transfers a lot of energy, a lot of forces. This one is rated, I think, at 75 or 80 pounds. Oh, it's got a very, very smooth rotation. So maybe I don't need those bearings to do anything. it may actually be a negative if I can't stop them from spinning. I don't know. We'll see. But this particular model is one of the least expensive ones that were big, and it had a really good rating on it, and it had a very good customer write-up on it. This one, I think this is 45 or 46 millimeter. You're going to find a lot of them in there that are like 25, 38, 32. That's a pretty small ball. This one here is the size of a racquetball. You know, it's a good size ball, and I like the idea of that. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's very nice. It's very solid. I like it. I like it. Here's the Arca rail, and this is the way it works. Those little posts are things that you want to have, because what they do is they limit, if this loosens up a little bit, or if it comes loose, it won't let your item fall off. It'll move, but those screws will stop it from falling off, versus not having them, and it's going to slide right off. Here's an adapter that I bought years ago, and what this is a pick rail to Arca adapter. The only bad thing is this does not have those screws. So I can clamp it on there, beautiful. But it doesn't have those screws, so if this goes loose, it's going to fall right off. So I might look into, see if I can drill and tap, maybe steal a screw out of here, because this was cheap. Steal a screw out of here or two and put them in here. Put them in there so that I can utilize that nice effect. So this, anyway, this is just a conversion that allows you to use a pick rail on the bottom of your firearm instead of having to invest in these Arca rails. They do the same thing. Does exactly the same thing. A little bit different sizing, but it does exactly the same thing. Very nice, very solid, very nice. Now, like I said, the mounting is with a 3/8 coarse thread bolt. There it is, it threads right in. So that's what holds it on. Now, like I said, this has, you loosen this little lever here, and this has a very, very smooth, it's like a really nice scope, but even easier. But that's that kind of feel, that kind of smooth, easy, smooth rotation. Now you can spend 100, 150, 200 bucks on a cheap, and that's cheap. But some of them you can find for 60, 80 bucks. I think that's where this one was. It wasn't the cheapest, but it wasn't the most expensive. But I was looking at ball size and then cost. So that's why I went with this. So let's see what this looks like. I think this is gonna sit on there just fine. Yeah, and it'll sit on there just fine. All right, now let's bolt this together, all my pieces, parts, and see what we get. They give you an Arca rail too. So you get one with the kit. And you also get this, which is a handle. Maybe it goes there. I'd have to read the directions to see where it goes, but it gives you a handle to move it around like on a tripod. And it's actually a very nice handle. I don't think we're going to use it, but it comes in the kit. Nicely packaged, big block of foam. Let's see if there is instructions. Not that it really needs instructions, but no, there's no instructions. All right, so I'll have to wing it as far as where things go and how things work. But I think oh, look at there. That even turns. So you can make that lock and be wherever you want it to be. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Okay, let's put some pieces, parts together get this box out of the way and see what we come up with. Stand by. Okay, here it is. Pretty easy. I think I'm correct. I don't need the bearing. I don't need those bearings, but I'm going to use them because they're spacers and collars. But I've got it clamped down so that it doesn't really rotate. I'll tighten the thing in the back, and it's pretty rigid. I can force it to turn, but it's pretty hard. And I can feel the ball bearings, so I'm over clamping it. But I think it's going to be fine because I'll just use this rotation here for my rotation when I need it, and it'll stay. Maybe I can make up or find something else to make up those spacers down the road, but for now this is going to be fine. But this gets me quite a bit of adjustment. Just loosen this one knob over here, and my ball can go wherever I want. It'll fall down to the side for maybe when I'm moving it, or it's in the car a little more, in the truck a little more protection for it. But you can get anything you want for adjustment, for movement, for position. And I'll get a rifle on here in a little bit, and you just turn that, tighten it up, and it's solid. Tighten this up, and no rotation, solid. Now let me show you what I got over here. I already showed you the adapter. You know, this can clamp onto a pick rail and then be clamped onto your gun, so this will stay on there, and then you can put it on here and have a good solid rest, you know, for your using a firearm. And this, you know, you don't need a bunch of these. You could take it off and put it on. You're probably not going to be doing more than one gun at a time, so it's not a big deal. But if you had a couple of firearms you need to do at the same time, just pick up a second one. They are probably about 30 bucks or so, so they're not cheap, but they're not super restrictive. And I'm going to drill and tap this and put those in there because I don't want to have the firearm slide out if I'm carrying it, you know, with it attached. I don't want to have the gun fall out. So that's an important part. But here's my idea. Get another one of these pick rails and attach it to the bottom of the clamp like this. Now this one is a proprietary one made by BOG to be able to convert it to a pick rail. I mean, convert it to a Arca rail. There it is. So I put that in there, tighten this up, and now I have the best of both worlds. I get to have the clamp, but I get all this more adjustment anywhere I want to be, and I still get to use the same clamp style. If I've got a firearm that doesn't have an Arca rail attachment or a pick rail attachment, and I need to be able to use a regular firearm, a shotgun, let's say, I don't know, whatever you might want to use it with. But also, this could be utilized for many things using the Arca system. So a spotting scope, different kinds of rests, whatever you can put an Arca rail on that you need to hold up, you can put it in there. Now, back on the Deathgrip, this goes up pretty high. Matter of fact, let me lengthen the legs and come back and show you. This is probably middle of my chin, and I'm 6 feet tall. So this is pretty good. It's plenty high for me for a rifle. That's actually a little on the high side. Probably a little bit high, which is good. You want to be able to have adjustment. Sometimes you want to go a little higher, and you want to be able to go a lot lower. And this is with all three extensions, two extensions really, but there's your main extension, outer tube, and then one inner one, and then one inner one again. So you got three sections, two that are adjustable. And then, like I said, you got these three settings, and this one here I think is 20 degrees, and then you got 45 degrees, and then 85 degrees. And like I said, you could shoot with prone with this bipod. And it's got a level up there. You got another level on this one here, and you got another level in the end over here. So you got plenty of places to level things out. You got adjustments, like I said, over here. You can turn this to be wherever you want it to be. This is your rotation. And then your big knob here is for before loosening your ball. And this has got a really nice feel too. It also feels like a scope adjustment. It doesn't, it's a smooth, stiff, like it's rubber, like there's O-rings on the threads or something. So it's got a really nice feel to it, and it locks down really good. So you're not going to have any problems. All right, so this is something you can do pretty easy. Again, this is the BOG Pod Deathgrip, and this is the cheaper one. So maybe we'll bring this out to the range and we'll see a little bit more of this. I'll shoot with this a little bit more. Let me get my, let me get a rifle. I think it's the 300 hammer. And there we go. And this is absolutely not balanced. There's a lot of weight back there. So that's holding this up just fine. But I do see that with the added leverage of the rifle, it's stiff. This is locked. So it's spinning in the bearing. But it's stiff. It's not fluid. It's nice. I think it'll be okay. It's only going to be a problem if I need to lock it, because I can't lock it. This part here that used to be the lock on it doesn't lock. I put it in and it kind of hits, because it's not made for this. It hits on the piece here. So it doesn't really work. So maybe I'll play with it a little bit more, but I don't think it's really an option. But there we go. And you can see here, you can get right behind this really nicely. Right on target. It's very, very comfortable. And if you want to, you know, you can loosen this up a little bit. And it's going to start to sag. And you've got these posts over here. So you can turn it just like that, straight up and down. And it's pointing in a safe direction, and it'll sit right there, and you're not working on your clamp, over clamping this. And there we go. All right, everybody. Hope you found this enjoyable. It's kind of an over-the-shoulder, not my regular kind of video, but it's something that I've wanted to do, been thinking about for a while. And with hunting seasons opening up and starting up here another couple months, it's something that you can probably use if you're doing more competitions. I don't know if they allow these, if you can use them, but you know, here's another option for you. I really like it for in the blind when I'm stationary. I don't have to walk far, because like I said, it's a little on the heavy side, but it's wicked stable. It's really, really nice, and this is just going to make it that much nicer. So there we go. Take a look at this. See if it's something that you want to do. Again, Arca is the brand I bought. And I chose it because of the diameter of that ball and the weight that it would hold. It would hold, I want to say 75 pounds, which is wicked heavy. You know, you probably got a 7-8 pound rifle. So, you know, 77, 75 pounds, that's a lot. So we're not going to wear this out anytime soon. Well, there we go. I hope you appreciated it. I hope it was worthwhile for you. God bless everybody. Check it out on the range pretty soon. CW out.